No question about it, we had hoped for a slightly better result.
Angela Merkel wins a fourth term as German Chancellor, but with a significantly reduced majority. And for the first time since the end of World War II, a far-right party will have seats in the German parliament. Hello, I'm Anand Naidu, and this is The Heat. History made over the weekend when Angela Merkel won a fourth term as Chancellor, but her victory was marred by a sharp drop in support for her conservative Christian Democrat alliance and dramatic gains by the anti-immigration Alternative for Germany party. AfD got about 13% of the ballot, nearly triple the votes it received just 4 years ago. It put a far-right party in the German parliament for the first time in more than 60 years. For more, we turn now to CGTN's Guy Henderson in Berlin. And Guy, break it down for us. What were the results and what was the message from voters?
Well, German voters have, more than the polls had really predicted, punished the two main governing parties here in Germany. That CDU-CSU bloc gaining less than a third of the vote here. That was certainly something that Angela Merkel admitted she was slightly disappointed with. As for her centre-left Social Democrat Party, they got just over 20% of the vote. They are now saying they're going to head back to opposition to try and reconnect with their voters after 4 years as the junior coalition partner. So that's one takeaway, a punishment from voters for the two governing parties. Number two, you'd mentioned the rise of the right, the rise of this far-right Alternative for Germany party. Although it was interesting speaking to Alex Gauland, their lead candidate, a little earlier in Berlin. I'd asked him about whether this was linked to a wider phenomenon across the Western world, and he said absolutely not. It's different from what's happening in the US Rust Belt at the moment. That, he said, was down to economic problems, high levels of unemployment. He said the issue for Germans was quite specific, not even that much linked to what else has been happening in Europe, that this was a cultural issue, and I think by that he means primarily immigration. Thirdly, though, interesting to note, it is not just a realignment to the right, it is also a general de-alignment, because there have been a number of votes going to smaller political parties. This is a pattern that we have perhaps seen across other parts of Europe, in the United Kingdom, in France, with an increasing number of voters falling out of love really with established parties and their politics.
Now, Guy, Germany has a pretty complicated system of proportional representation. So, looking ahead, how difficult is it going to be for Angela Merkel to put together a working coalition?
Well, one journalist had asked her, will there be a coalition government in Germany by Christmas? And the Chancellor basically avoided the question. She didn't answer it straight. So I think it's fair to say this is going to be a particularly difficult set of discussions ahead, a potentially unexpected period of political instability here in the heart of Europe. Now, the Social Democrats that I'd mentioned have already said they want to go back into opposition, but we heard from the Chancellor a few hours ago, perhaps as an early sign that she's genuinely worried about being able to form a government. She's asking to keep contacts open with the SPD, despite them saying they want to go back to opposition. There are then two other contenders, because of course the CDU has already said that it will not form a coalition government under any circumstances with the third largest party, which is the AfD. Two other contenders, the Green Party and the FDP, the Free Democrats. Both of them too have started with a starting position, saying they are cautious heading into these talks. They do not want to go through what the SPD has gone through in the last 4 years, which is essentially a process of being alienated from its voters. So it's saying it has these demands, they have strong disagreements between each other as well, and that if the CDU is not prepared to meet those demands, it's also quite happy to spend another 4 years in opposition.
Thanks, Guy. That's CGTN's Guy Henderson reporting.